Led by a lifelong interest in healing, Dr. Linda Salvin pursued an advanced degree in epidemiology. Then, after dramatic near-death experiences, Dr. Linda saw the other side and returned with gifts of insight, visions, and revealed wisdom. Now those gifts are ongoing, and she's here to share them with you. Get ready to be amazed. It's time for Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions podcast with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, offering up her always fascinating blend of psychic psychology, clairvoyant insights, and expert guests and alternative healing methods. So pull up a chair and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi. Oh my God. Do we have a show today? I am thrilled, everybody. I am Dr. Linda Salvin. This is the Psychic Solutions podcast. Now, if you've been following me, which many of you have, maybe not live every week or every year, but for the last 30 plus years, I've been a broadcaster. Since 1999, I developed a candle line called Wicks of Wisdom, which I've been bashed on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok. They all think it's crazy. And then they use Kris Jenner, who I paid $25,000 to be the host of my infomercial in 2006. Don't believe the internet when it says 1999, because it's not true. But Wicks of Wisdom is my candle magic line. I have helped thousands of people internationally, locally, domestically, with love, career, health, wealth, divorce, marriage, legal. I have helped people with their legal issues. Not all cases come in favor of the client. However, if you've been watching the show the last few months, and a year ago, I had a woman by the name of Kelly on the show who testified to the Wicks of Wisdom, helping her stay out of jail for a 20-year sentence, federal prison. She's completing her 4-year probation now. She was on the show with Gina DeStito about 3 or 4 weeks ago because Gina has been going through a federal case. And the anxiety, the depression, the guilt, the shame, the fear, the restlessness, the crazies. I would go through it too. I've walked her through at least 1.5 years, 2 years of this. We've also burned several sets of candles, including good luck power and sweetening judgment power and rebound power. How do they work? It's magic, people. There's oils, there's herbs, there's powders, there's formulas, there's petitions. You learn the magic technique when you purchase Wicks of Wisdom, which can be viewed and purchased on my website, lindasalvin.com. The passion, the excitement that I'm almost bringing myself to tears today is because yesterday was Gina's court date, that we have been counting the days and hours because nobody knew exactly what the judge, the federal judge, was going to do. She, like Kelly, was looking at a 20-year sentence. Kelly was let go. As you know, you can go back to YouTube and look at the show from a few weeks ago. You can see Gina and Kelly together talking about their similarities. And now I want to bring Gina on so she can tell you the amazing success, news, happiness, glow, freedom. All because of, well, I'm not going to say all because, but I'm going to tell you probably because of what we know happens with the Wicks of Wisdom. Welcome back. Congratulations.
Hi. I'm a convicted victim of fraud. So yeah, sounds strange, but stranger things happen, just like Wicks of Wisdom. And an amazing, amazing turn of events in the courtroom that no one has ever seen before. And I really can attribute it
chills,
to
Gina. I want to hear. I know I've heard bits and pieces. You're probably on cloud nine because you're telling everybody try to focus. Keep it right there. That's a beautiful frame right there.
Okay.
Try to take us back as to how you got busted. If you want to tell a little bit of the story, what's happened, unless you want to start with the verdict and go backwards. There's so much, but it's so exciting. You look at your face, you're smiling, you're glowing.
Yeah.
You look like a different person.
the weight of shame, and I'm really talking to people that have gone through fraud, and it's something that you can't talk to your friends and or close families, because the first thing people end up saying is like, how could you be so stupid? You're such a smart person. How can you fall for this? Well, fraudsters are just that. They're amazing con people, con men, con women, con children. But I do want to, I rather than start, I'm going to start from the end and go back. For everyone that's listening, Candle Magic and Wicks of Wisdom is Wheel. And thank you, Linda, because this is what just completely turned everything. My attorney is speaking to the judge on my behalf after the prosecution has went there. I have went to go ahead and accept a plea deal to avert a 20-year sentence and $250,000 fine for each of 6 different counts. So that's what the prosecution asks for. However, the federal judge can do whatever he chooses. He can put me in jail for 20 years. He can put me in jail. He can do whatever he wants. The prosecution was asking for a 8-month home detention, which means you need to work and go out, and then a 3-year probation. So when it came time for my attorney to come up and speak to the judge, and just here is I'll cut to the chase. Telling the judge that I actually have a position that I can be working currently during this election season, and that will only go until November, obviously, and asking for a 2-month home detention so I could work the next 3 months. The judge stops the attorney and says, well, what if we take the home detention and put it completely after the entire
Who does
election?
that? Who does that?
The entire court was aghast. And especially as my attorney went to stutter and said, well, Judge, I never thought of this, nor have I spoken to my client about this. And then the judge looks over her, and the in-court sentencing probation officer, he literally says to her, well, would that be any problem with probation? And she said, no, Your Honor, no problem. And then my attorney says, well, can I take a couple of moments? And he says, yeah, you guys can step outside. I won't adjourn. I'll just wait right here. The federal judge, I'm just going to wait at the bench. You guys take your time, come back in. I go out. This does not happen.
No,
ever.
judges don't do that. But go on, and then I'm going to toot my horn in a moment. But go on.
Absolutely. And so I go out and I speak to my attorney, and she's just flabbergasted. She says, do you understand what's happening here?
I just want to cry.
The judge is saying that he is going to push that back, but your probation is going to start now, and you're going to be able to work through for the next 5 months. And so okay, we walk in. He says, okay, I will take this, give me 10 minutes recess, comes back and says 160 days or 180 days, which is 6 months, not the 8 months that they were looking for. And that this will start in January of 2025. I thought I was hearing things.
Yeah, because I'm sure you walked in ready to like say goodbye to your kids, your grandkids, your friends, your home, your property, your everything. Like, I'm going to go to jail.
Everything.
I mean,
or a detention that I was told that was going to start in 10 days. So then a home detention, I needed to get across the country in 10 days. How was I going to do this? I needed to drive. I mean, it was just insane.
I remember you talking about it and telling your attorney, go on. Go on.
And then for the judge to say, I am granted immediate travel. I can travel anywhere across the country. And it's going to leave it up to the probation to decide what day in January of 2025. But then he went to say, I know, Ms. DeStito, that you are truly a law-abiding citizen, and you were a victim of a con man. I got to know who you are, and this does not define you. I mean, to have those words heard by a federal judge, after everything that I have lived through and being a victim of fraud, but a convicted victim of fraud, I literally said to the judge, I said, this, I am not a victim. I'm a victor. And this does not define me. You're absolutely right, Judge. And if I can not let all of this go in vain, but that I can help educate people on fraud and the shame and how many people have been defrauded and that are in the closet, in the shadows. Once upon a time, domestic violence was in the shadows, child molestation, on and on and on, and abuse. This right here, fraud, people don't talk to their friends or their family. They just hold it in the back because they feel that they were stupid and they were, no, but you were conned.
I got
And there
conned
has,
twice in the last 2 years. We'll talk about it. It's a horrible feeling. You're powerless. You're helpless. You're out the money. You're out your self-worth. You're out your brain. You're like, what? But that can't be. That can't be. It can't be. It's too big. It's traumatic. Go on. You're doing great.
It is. So with this being in the courtroom and then the conversation of post-sentencing with the judge and the back and forth, and that he said, he goes, this is really good to hear. And then my attorney has a conversation with the judge saying, Judge, in the federal system, there is no second chance. There is no first time offense diversion scenario for, obviously Miss DeStito would be an excellent candidate for a second chance. And, this needs to happen. And the judge said, you're absolutely right. And, yes, this needs to go forward. So all of these things for the judge to say these things. And I got to tell you, when the prosecution was up there, her tongue was getting tongue tied. And I am sure that has to do with candles going on and everything that she was trying to say about me and
put
make
you
my
down.
culpability. And it kept on just being completely wiped out. And my attorney, she was flawless. She was exemplary. And the judge even commented on what an excellent job portraying. But I got to say, it has literally been because of love of so many, but I believe truly in my heart the candle magic, which I believe is it, and Linda, and you say it's God driven. This is God driven.
It's
This
real.
is it is real. It is not a deviation in any way, shape, or form other than God.
No,
And
I put my heart and soul in this. As much as I get bashed and battered and ridiculed and backstabbed and lied to or betrayed or people trying to attack me and all this, I still come back up because they can't touch this stuff. They cannot touch this stuff. Let's back up a minute. How long ago was the sentencing? I forget how many years you've been through this cycle.
so let me back up as far as where you've got the end. This actually started during PPP and the COVID lockdown, and this all began with a con man who was telling me that I was entitled, and this program was exactly for me, for a up and coming businesswoman to take advantage of. So this all started as of April of 2020, right out the gate for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection
So you're
Program.
right at 4 years. You are exactly at 4 years.
Yes, literally to the day of 4 years. And then I was actually detained and arrested and basically presented what these charges were on January 6th of 2022. And so right after this whole all happened in 2020, it was pretty early on. By about August, September of 2020, I realized I got scammed because he got all the money. I didn't get the money. But interesting, back to being a victim, a convicted victim, the money was deposited into my bank account. Money was used for business costs. So that was made and presented to the judge that it was, used for business costs. However, how it was presented to me obviously was completely fraudulent. And then out of $79,000, I didn't get any of that. And the con man got that plus over $60,000 in services from me. I'm a Class A driver, and I have a Mercedes Winnebago RV that I drove him up and down the East Coast from Connecticut to Washington, D.C., and everywhere in between in about approximately a couple of months. So it was just when I realized that I was conned, that I was like, when am I just going to start paying back this loan of $79,000 plus 1% interest, a total of $84,000, and just waiting. But if I knew then what I know now, I could have been a whistleblower now. And right now, the full arm of the federal government and the IRS are going after PPP loans and fraudulent loans. And I want to be a messenger to tell people that if they made a mistake, if they did, they need to come forward first. They need to have a conversation before charges can be levied. If you know of someone that has committed fraud, there is a whistleblower opportunity that if you go ahead and you whistleblow on these people that collected fraudulent PPP claims, you can be entitled from 15 to 30% of the monies that are actually reclaimed.
That's interesting.
Attorneys are now making huge, cashing in on people that are being accused of PPP fraud, have to defend themselves against the PPP fraud. They
Yeah,
are
and a
making
lot
it.
of people don't even have to pay that back. They don't have
Well,
to.
the forgiveness loans was
Yeah,
over 95%. And I do want to make everybody know, known to everyone, that I did not do the paperwork to ask for a forgiveness loan. I realized that I was scammed and I was defrauded, but I felt responsible for this, so I wanted to go forward and pay this loan back. Now it's not termed as a loan; it's termed as I'm making restitution. And with that being said, um, back to being a convicted victim. Right now, what's happening in the federal government and the lawfare that's happening, and it's a very political hot button. The judge even stated to me that jurors being sat for PPP fraud cases are very, very mad and angered because they say, I had a business, I had to shut it down, I was denied a PPP loan. And then they say, well, I know of people or neighbors that did not even have a
and
company
they got the
and
loan, right.
they got the PPP loan.
I have a business,
Uh,
but I didn't qualify for PPP because I didn't have any employees. You had to have a certain amount of employees. I got the SBA loan, which is non-forgivable. I have to pay that back. It's going to take me the rest of my life at the rate I'm going. But no, where I really needed help, I didn't qualify. Then you get all these fraudulent people. People, as you know, went out and created an LLC and started shopping and buying cars. And they just created the LLC and filed a claim, and they don't have a business except on paper.
Well, you're
That's
absolutely right. And the frustrating part about it, that all of the safeguards and the stop gaps that I've done my research on this were completely removed during COVID, that the SBA actually adjudicated in 14 years, they did 14 years worth of loans in 14 days. What could possibly happen? So the problem is that the stop gaps where they were saying, well, we're attempting to get the money to people faster, it doesn't work that way. That really needs to be evaluated because, there's going to come a time again that, the federal government is going to have to look to, assist Americans. But as far as to go ahead and have all the stop gaps, because I myself, going into COVID, of course, I'm not working, but I have an LLC and I have a company. And there's a lot of flim flam and talking real fast. And when you're asking questions and you're basically being shut down, but it is presented to you as a legitimate business person and acquaintance that I had known that had every, it wasn't just a phone call, a random phone call. So that's where you have to look at it, that people can actually be defrauded by people that are around them that they know. And it's a very beyond. I want to give you a statistic, Linda. 1 out of 17 people every day are getting defrauded monetarily. And I'm not just talking about identity theft. So this is an epidemic. I literally, just waiting to come on to your show, got a call, of course, from a San Francisco number saying, oh, a man identified himself. I'm calling from the police league, and to be able to donate,
Yeah, right.
obviously scam. So I want to let everybody know, change how you answer your phone. Don't say hello. Don't say yes. If somebody says, can you hear me okay? Do not say yes. Answer your phone with, who's calling? That completely screws up the entire algorithm. And if you repeat, who's calling, 9 times out of 10, it'll just disconnect itself. Or you can identify by saying, who's calling? Then you realize that there's an AI talking to you, and they're like, oh, hi, can you hear me? And then there's a
Yeah, and they
pause.
keep talking and they don't. And then I just realized, or the other clue is sometimes you hear the blank, then all of a sudden that click as they're opening the pot, or the ability to communicate, because it's on a recorded or a screen, and then they click, oh, there's an answer, hello, and I say, never mind, I don't know what you're selling, and I hang up. There's so much to talk about. Let's go back
It really is. It really
Let's
is.
go
But I
back
do
to
want,
you.
because there's so much to talk about, I want to tell everybody, do find me, because I'm going to be doing TikTok video drops, and I'm going to tell this entire saga of 4 years and really get down and dirty detail. That
But
is
you got to
just,
promote Wicks of Wisdom as helping.
oh, you better believe it. I mean, Wicks of Wisdom is going to be our sponsor.
Let's back to let's go back to I met you in 2020 in Vegas, or 2021.
2021. Yep.
So you had already started, but I didn't really know about all this at the time.
No, this hadn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
I met you in August of 2021, and I was actually my arrest date. Unbeknownst to me, doing some DoorDash, going on to a military base to deliver a DoorDash, and basically just to go ahead and get my credentials so I can go on and off. And they're like, okay, hold on a second, we need to detain you. And then all of a sudden, I'm literally being detained, taken into a military base.
When was that? If we met during the summer, just so you know, people, Gina and I are involved with the holistic health product line, which I've promoted many times based on DNA. And that's how we met at the pool or whatever, met a bunch of people, and we hung out. And then the friendship developed over time. And then the professional stuff took over, because Gina reached out and said she was in trouble. I said, what's going on? And I got to see the other side. So with the arrest on the military base,
my arrest date, which is an interesting date in history, y'all, was January 6th, 2022.
Right.
2022, a year later after the 2021 January 6th. But I gotta say, this all came to fruition yesterday, right at the finish of retrograde.
Oh my God! Yes.
On top of that, today's the full moon.
Today is the end of the retrograde. It's the 24th. Or yesterday, the 24th, right in that shift. We had the eclipse 3 weeks ago. We've had Mercury retrograde for 3.5 weeks, which has been horrible. I got hit. You got hit. I don't know anybody had a good time, whether it's emotional, whether it's relationships, whether it's communication, if it's technology, if it's legal. I mean, it's been insane. Then we had the pink moon, the full moon the other night, which is gorgeous. But all this energy, especially from the eclipse and the new portal that opened up, it just went into a fulcrum of explosion. And every day I would talk to Gina, or every other day, how you doing? And she'd be flying off the hanging from the chandelier in panic of not knowing. I said, I have a feeling they're going to see that you were not a victim. And I said years ago when this started, I said, they're not going to see you because it's a first-time offense. Remember I said that when you came here the first time to pick up, 1,000 candles when you drove in from Vegas. This is how dedicated she was 2 years ago, people. She drove from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, which is a good 5-hour drive in normal traffic, and she made it in like 4 hours. We loaded up her car. I explained to her all the petitions, which took a good hour to explain, because when you do Wicks of Wisdom, we need the judge, her attorney, their attorney, details in between, and I analyze it. That's my talent, my gift, my ability to figure out how this is going to work in her favor. And now remember, this is 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, and then this year, I burned a couple of candles just to poof it up a little bit more. I think I started at the beginning of the month just to go after them one more time to ensure the energy, especially in the judge's favor, which we have found softened him, made him more human, more humble. But most of what I wrote in the petition about his love and appreciation for Gina and in the ruling of the court happened. And that's where Wicks of Wisdom work like a prescription for your soul, which most people cannot understand. Gina had so many candles burning at once. It was a bonfire. I said something was happening. I said, well, reposition some of them, and then it stopped over burning. And it all depends on how they're set up and how they're burning and what's in the oils or which oils are being used and what the petitions say. It's science, but it's magic.
Yes.
It's real. It's spiritual. Don't screw with this. You want to go watch other candle manufacturers? Go. That's fine. You're not going to get the same results. You'll get results. But I know these have a different sense of accuracy and power 90% of the time. I will never say 100% on my work as a psychic, as a healer, as a medium, as a candle lady, whatever you want to call me. We did the work. I burned a lot for her because it's too much work and she was overwhelmed. So people pay me to do the work. I threw a couple in because I trusted it and I felt she deserved a kick. Keep going. So you're in court.
I got to tell you, so I'm in court, and what else does the judge say? Ms. DeCito, I really wish I would have heard your story and seen you earlier, because we're going to call him Mr. Fraud Baller, who was actually sitting in my chair, said he was sitting in your chair not too long ago and gave me a completely different story.
Can
and
they
you can
go
tell
back
him
and
he
change
was
the
mad.
sentence? Can they do anything now with the new information? Are they allowed to open it up? I don't know how it works. Can they?
I think at this point it's pretty much done, but I think everything that is now being brought forward, there was actually one more person that needs to be, that was going to be sentenced today. I was the last person to actually accept a plea deal and plead guilty. And I got to tell you, to listen to what they're saying about you when you absolutely know it's not true, and that you did not do what they say, but you have to actually, you have to say yes. You have to agree to what's happening here and that you're losing your rights. You have no right of appeal.
Back up a minute. Back up. Last fall, I can remember driving and talking to you on the phone, and we were going back and forth. Well, my attorney wants me to plead guilty, take this deal, do this. I have a year, blah, 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 do it now. I said, doesn't feel right, Gina. We bantered, we went back, we waited. It's like, no, I don't think you should surrender or give in. And we took a risk. Meaning my perception of the future outcome versus here's an attorney's suggestion. And we would talk it through, whether it's your therapist, your attorney, me as a psychic, as whatever, plus your own feelings. There was something that kept that fight in you to stay true to yourself, which was not guilty, even though they made you feel guilty.
What you are saying, I have to interject, because you're absolutely right. Because when I did that bonfire, their first offer was 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. And I went to go ahead and accept that deal because I felt that, you can't fight the federal government.
Right. And that was released, that for 1 year came down from 20 years, right?
Well, that's the ultimate sentence that the judge can actually.
Okay, but what was on the table before they said 1 year? It was a little more than that.
That was the plea deal offer from the prosecution. Okay. So my attorney slow walked and didn't put it forward because what they end up doing is they go, this deal's only on the table for so long, or, or we're going to court.
And they kept pushing.
So after I did the first bonfire of Wicks of Wisdom, the there was 4 different court dates and they all got pushed, and they
Oh,
weren't
yeah,
some
that's right.
requested
I
for me.
remember that, yeah. All right,
And
let's stop
also
a minute.
in
Let me stop right there. For the people that don't know what Wicks of Wisdom are, each set of candles comes with 3 candles. Each candle can take 4 to 7 days to burn. When Gina talks about the bonfire, I think you had 12, 13 sets that you
yeah,
purchased so we could really keep you
yeah,
stocked. So sometimes we were only supposed to do one at a time, and then the next, and the next. There's a whole formula and a ritual, but I had her double up because I wanted to really hit this mark and then add more. And she would send pictures and they'd crack and they'd be black or they'd be smoky. I said, okay, move this over here and do that over there. No, let's not do this yet. There's a way to tamper and work with it, people. It's not like just baking a cake and you hope that you got enough flour and sugar in there.
no.
It's a little bit more measured than that, but the outcome is intense if you do it properly. Now, remember, we started doing Wicks of Wisdom 2.5 years ago. Her court date was yesterday, and all the anxiety and sleeplessness and restlessness and depression and everything going on, seeing her kids, her grandkids, the what ifs, the what ifs, the what ifs. And the judge flipped into a human marshmallow, which they do not do. They're like,
No,
okay,
they don't.
no, they're not.
Well, I have to even give you the next one because as of last November, the reason why the prosecution changed from 1 year, 1 day to 8 months and probation is that the actual law changed. The law of how they could go ahead and do the point structure with the federal guidelines. So there
You
were
were right in the
people,
middle of all this, and you were one step ahead of it.
so there were people that went ahead and they made deals and they went and they did their time, either home detention or, you know, other. However, the judge and the court had actually always given sentences that were below what the federal guidelines were asking for and what were. But in the meantime, because I basically fought and fought and fought and
Well,
I
you
got to tell you,
resisted, you challenged. You challenged
challenge.
it more than
Yes.
fought it. You challenged
Yeah.
the suggestions from your
Yes.
lawyer and what the prosecution would say. I gratefully wrote a letter. We don't know what happened or how many
Yeah.
good faith letters and
I had
videos
I think over 27 letters
and
that,
all
you
that
know,
helped because we got to talk about your creative and personal ventures and persona. But before we
I
get
had a
back to
girlfriend to say to me, she goes, I don't even know 27 people. And so that's a blessing right there.
no, you've
But
been
I'll tell
doing it.
you, the the power that, you know, the wicks of wisdom, of the candles, of the essence of the energy that it gave me, my therapist, you know, it's like I it was so cathartic because I really felt like I was going through a It's a Wonderful Life moment. You know, okay, you never were here. This is what would happen if you were never here and you didn't interject in different people's life. It was almost like a eulogy because, you know, you're hearing people talk about you where usually you never hear that. So it was very, very humbling. But the idea of the essence and the scent and the light that I told you last time, Linda, that I have these pictures and I have videos that after I did the candles, I go back and I watch the videos over and over again, or I'll just have it on loop. And it's like the candles are burning all over again. And I swear to you, I smell the roses, I smell the
You
flowers, I
have
smell.
anything on the phone you can upload quickly to give, like send to me to send to the station, and we can. Too bad we didn't do this in advance. There's so much going
I
on.
know, right?
Right, we can do it, we'll do it another time. What I'd
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to know, what did your attorney's face look like, or did her mouth drop when the judge came through?
absolutely.
Like, give me like.
For an attorney is usually never, you know, short of words. But it was literally when the judge went to say, well, what if we go ahead and delay the home detention until after the election? It was dumbfounding because my attorney's just there going, yes,
It was speechless.
uh,
Shocked.
Well, I didn't think of that, nor did I speak to my client about this, nor even realizing that this was a possibility. I absolutely.
And the prosecuting attorney who we worked on, that's kind of the
Yes.
secret here, folks. We did the work
Yes.
on the opposite side. I can't tell you
Yeah.
what. Nobody
Yeah.
got harmed. Nobody got hurt. No
No.
animals were died, killed, or sacrificed. This is all magic. This is oils, herbs, and
God
writing.
driven magic. I really
It's
want to
all it is,
underscore that because
people.
you
How
always
did
tell
you
me
get out
that.
of jail for 20 years or probation for whatever and not have to pay $280,000 or $250? How does it work? It's magic. You want to learn more about Wicks Wisdom? Go to lindasalvin.com. What about the prosecuting attorney who was waiting at the chomping on the bit to see you get sentenced?
Yeah, well, they have the opportunity to go at first, basically, and the prosecuting attorney talking about how I had a larger role, and all, and which wasn't the case or the fact of the matter, and having the judge actually commented and saying what an excellent attorney that I have, because every single thing that the prosecution attempted to go ahead and present forth, my attorney was able to go ahead and really reveal the light of the situation, that no, I didn't have anything to do with these documents. These were cut and pasted. How they were
Well, she's
attempting to
sharp. She's
say.
on top of it. She was able to defend you properly, which was great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen to every single thing, and she went to bat for me the entire last 2 years, attempting to go ahead and present, to bring this to a misdemeanor, because obviously it's a felony, and that that greatly weighs on a person's ability to do anything these days, to be able to get a loan, to be able to rent an apartment, to get life
Your whole
insurance.
life was on hold, Gina.
Yes. Yeah, my whole life was basically on hold. I was basically under a black cloud, and just in survival mode, and attempting to get out of this, and really being able to reach out and speak and talk to friends and family, and um, being able to go ahead and tell what my side of the story is, even though all of this is a matter of public record. So anybody here can go ahead and research it. It wasn't just me, people. This was 21 people, 21 other people that basically got scammed and conned by this guy, childhood friends of theirs. So there's about half of the people that ended up getting some way, shape, or form and sentenced, maybe over that. Other people it was dismissed. Other people got diversion. There's a whole myriad of scenarios, but there was, when you're talking about federal felony, there are guidelines that they have to attest to. And basically, everything that could have happened in my situation went beyond anybody's imagination. And it really was, you focused on the judge. You focused on the judge, Linda. And the
Well, I did
judge.
a lot of work on the prosecuting attorney because that's part
Mhm.
of it. But by focusing on the judge to have him fall in love with you, see you vote or rule in your favor, or whatever
Mhm.
words I came up with over the last couple of years. And then the last one I did, which ended last week, remember, just at the tail
Yep.
end, like a little cherry on top of the sundae,
Yep.
just hope it would be okay. And I said it burned beautifully. There was no
Yeah.
problem. Getting chills again, because that's the truth. If you're watching and you're able to call in and you want to contribute, I don't know if Kelly's there or not. The number is 561-623-9421. Otherwise, you'll see it on the download on all the different platforms, people. But again, this is Gina DeStito, who for the last 3 years has had a federal court case hanging over her head with an up to 20-year sentence. We did probably about 30 sets of candles over the last couple of years. And that's why we call it a bonfire, because when they're all going at once, it gets crazy. But the beauty is she's free. She's free. And
Yes.
do you have to have an ankle thing on when the home detention starts?
These days, it varies from state to state and county to county, but it goes from ankle to wrist to actually your own phone and GPS monitoring. So the whole idea of a home detention is basically a transition back into society, so to speak, with a level of that you're under and reporting to a probation officer, but they want to see you work. They want to see you go to church. They want to see you go to doctor's visits.
Well, I know you have a few projects in the wings, and I'm part of it as far as work.
You
I will
bet.
bet you'll be working, and I know the studio's there, and I know your life is going to get back on. I just sent Rebel, I know you're listening. I just sent you a picture of candles that I'm doing right now for some people around the world and locally. But if you could upload it to give people a visual as to what it looks like when we're doing, quote, a bonfire,
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
upload. This is a sample of what Gina had done. I am currently working on 2 people here in LA. One person, I'm doing 9 in Portugal. I have 1 in Switzerland, 2 in Israel, and some for myself as well, because I need help too. But if you get that, Rebel, put it up and we'll go over it. But I feel like I'm interviewing a celebrity that's been in the news forever, and we're waiting for the breakthrough. And
I am so blessed. Really, this was, it is really all faith driven. It is words of faith.
It's more than that. It's not just faith.
You called me so many times when I was literally just so low, and hearing your voice, and that's what people need. They need to be able to be their own advocate. They need to have those positive voices. And I really can't underscore just how calming watching the flames flicker of the Wicks of Wisdom candles are, and the scent, and how you just keep on going back and checking.
Okay, let's stop. Here we go.
There it is.
Here's a sample. Thank you, Rebel. Let me just tell you, people. We're talking about Wicks of Wisdom, which work like a prescription for your soul. What are Wicks of Wisdom? It's my candle magic line. I was trained in 1999 by a Santerian priest. I started to understand the formulas and how it works to help people. I got scared. I said, I'm not a Santeria. I'm not going to, eat animals and sacrifice this. I'm not becoming an Orisha. I'm Jewish. I'm from the valley. So I went to my rabbi. I had a Hasidic rabbi who loved what I was doing. In Kabbalah, the candles go back 3,000 years, including magic. The candle represents the soul of man. The wick, when lit, is the flame, which is light, which is God. I didn't make it up. It's been there for 3,000 years. And when we saw it in Kabbalah that day, I said, Rabbi, he said, yes, Linda, it comes from somewhere. So I took and adapted what I was trained in candle magic. And I learned the different properties that when I do the petition, and I spend hours. Put that back a moment, please, Rebel. Let me just show people. So if you can see the flame, you see the flame in all these candles. Each tray represents different people. The one in the middle is one girl alone in Portugal. The one on the right has 3 different clients, and the one on the left has 2 different people. But as you can see, the shower wall is a little darkened from all the soot, and it's out in a room that's not attached to the house. So it gets cleaned eventually, but that is where I do the work because it's so intense. And you open the office and it's heated up because the flame and the heat all night long. This is just the first round of this particular lot that I started a few days ago, because now I got to do all of them again for round 2 and round 3. So I got to write the petitions, dress the candle, which means putting the oils, herbs, and powders, contacting the people's names. Yes, there's an aroma that Gina's talking about. Each scent is very sweet. So your home has a beautiful, not perfumey smell, but just enough to calm you because it's working. But what I want you to know is Gina would have all these for herself going, where I've got 4 or 5 people here at once, but I didn't. We bombed this case in Gina's favor. And I said to her, if you remember, I can't promise that this will work. It is alleged, it is spiritual. However, I believe, and I went on to say, this is what we can do. This is what I suggest we change. Thank you, Rebel. This is what we need to alter. And we worked with it as the lawyer kept changing dates, or as the author kept changing, as the information came through, we would alter the petitions or the candles. People, if you're just joining into this show, Gina was up for a federal prison term for quite a while, like up to 20 years. And yesterday she was put on probation.
Yes. Directly to probation, and with a home detention that is now been fast forwarded and delayed until January of
But it
2025.
also sounds like the judge was almost apologetic for you. He almost sounded like, I am so sorry, especially I didn't meet you before I sentenced the guy who started
Yeah,
all this, where
yeah.
he talk about guilt. He's on the bench. He just gets the dockets. He does his job. Here's next, here's next, here's next. It's too bad they put you after him, even though he was the head honcho of this 21
Well,
person.
yeah, it was just basically how I ended up pleading, because he ended up pleading guilty. He didn't accept a plea deal. And I do want to underscore that
Is
the
he in jail?
situation. Oh yeah, he has reported to federal prison, so he is in jail.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so and any obviously this is all a matter of public record. So anybody who goes to Google my name, it'll come up, all the information. And then of course I'll definitely be doing a whole TikTok channel with the down and dirty of everything that's happened in the last 4 years. But I gotta underscore, when I came and talked to you for a 1 hour psychic reading to
The
begin with
first
all of
time.
this. Yes, the very first time you had said to me, this is just the beginning. This isn't over. And but you said to me, and you looked at me, you said, oh my God, this is so convoluted. There are so many people involved in this, and you are innocent and you are a victim. So the idea of, I even said to the judge, I said, I'm not asking to excuse my behavior, because there were definitely steps that I did, but I was conned. And I said, but I want to explain it. So that's the whole thing, where things on its face, it could be very cryptic, but it's not the rest of the story. And what hurt greatly was, family members and dear friends that didn't feel that they were in a level that they could write me a letter, and I love them for it anyway. They didn't feel
Not
that they
everybody
could do
stepped
that or
up.
put
No, I
themselves
understand. You find that
right.
certain
Yeah,
support systems
yeah,
don't
yeah.
show up. I
And
get it.
that's really hard. And then even people that didn't believe you, and that even, hurt me,
Or you
because
lose friends along the way, but you gain new. The
yeah,
whole system of your emotional and spiritual growth through a trauma. I learned that after the plane crash. I lost people when I said, "Oh, I'm a psychic." You're all, "What? Oh my God, you think you did?" Well, now I'm known around the world, and I've just been nominated for 4 awards in Dubai for my work in metaphysics and healthcare and all this stuff. And if I get awarded, selected, whatever. But yeah, you keep fighting the negative. As much as I am bashed, as much as I am put down and backstabbed, or they try to, kill me, because literally they try to. It's the same thing with you, that emotional dump, like, oh my God, why don't they want to help me? Why don't they love me? Why don't they this? But I'd be in the car, I'd be thinking about my clients, and yes, I am one that reaches out. I don't just say, here's your candles, talk later. I will reach out if I connect with somebody. Yes, we were friends, but then when the business came in, she pays me, she books her time. She doesn't just dump on me like people do on Instagram, a page of their crap. And I say, you have to pay. Well, why do I have to pay? You're so mean. I'm like, why do you feel entitled to dump on me? And then they disappear. They don't get
yeah, this
it.
is your livelihood. Yeah, exactly.
The beauty
But
is
you
you're
you
here.
you hit the word, though, trauma.
It was
People
trauma.
are going through trauma. And all of these things, when people are coming to you for wicks of wisdom, it is a healing level of the trauma that they're feeling, because they're coming to you for help in resolve and all of those different things that you're stating. And trauma is real. And to be able to feel that you can empower yourself, and this big idea of this universe that is just so much mystery, and that you said with that magic, which comes from the Magi's, which were the silent, priests that were walking, and it wasn't the three Magi's of the kings. They were a silent sect of monks. So the Magi's really come from attaining what you need at the moment that you need it. And that is what Wicks of Wisdom is. And that's what the magic is. You
Thank
attain
you.
what you need when you need it, not a
But
moment
I have
before,
the
not a moment
formulas.
after.
But I have the formulas that nobody
Yes.
else has. That's the
Right.
secret. And I have the petitions nobody understands until you
Hmm.
purchase. That's the magic and the secret. We're out of time, Gina. I will bring you back. I think
It went so fast.
It went so fast. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to book you and Kelly together, because first it was Kelly, then it was you, then it was Kelly and you. Now I'm going to bring both of you, since you're both on the same page now, on the other side of the legal system, of up for, oh my God, I'm going to jail, to, oh my God, I'm free. Oh my God, I did the Wicks of Wisdom. I have to say, I helped. But it's an honor.
There was nothing but drop jaws in the courtroom. That never happens.
No, because Kelly's attorney said he'd never seen anything like that in 40 years. And I had a case years ago. My attorney said I've never seen anything like it. And I went on an appellate court where somebody said it was frivolous. Weeks of Wisdom work like a prescription for your soul. Gina DeStito has beat, don't want to say beat the system. The system worked in her favor.
Yeah.
But you beat it. You still beat it. You're not going to
revealed. The truth was revealed.
Yeah, and now you can become an advocate to help other people. And I will help.
That's my focus. I'm not a victim. I'm a victor. Just like the judge said, this does not define me. And fraud and trauma doesn't divide or define any of your clients or people that are watching and listening to it. Wicks of Wisdom works, and you are my dear friend, and I am blessed to know you. Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you. You're very welcome. I'll stay backstage. I'll be there in a moment. That's the end of this broadcast. I've been so excited about doing this today since I found out 24 hours ago, literally, that Gina was released from the federal courts of not having to go to jail or even spend a year in jail or a year in lockdown, probation, nothing. She's free. She's got an amazing freedom. And yes, we did a lot of candle work. Yes, they work. You don't believe it? Try it for yourself. I love showing skeptics how my work works. Am I a little witch? No, I just have been trained. I'm a metaphysician. I'm a psychic. I have a background in science. I understand a little bit of each world. I put it together to integrate to help you become better in your world. If you're going through trauma, if you're going through pain, you want your love life, you need more money, you need career changes, relationship, it's all there at Wicks of Wisdom. But most of all, just book a session with me at lindasalvin.com like Gina did. Let me analyze it. I remember when she first came and I saw, oh my God, she was going to go into this web of horrible changes. And she did for 2 years. And now it's over. And I can help you get through your stuff too. lindasalvin.com. That's the end of the show. I'll be back next week with Psychic Solutions. Somehow it says Recovery Wednesday. It's the wrong tag, but it's the wrong show. Rebel, this is Psychic Solutions. There you go. It's all the same. It's all my stuff. So this is Psychic Solutions Podcast. You can see this on YouTube and iHeart and iTunes and all the other platforms, Facebook. But if you want to talk to me personally, all the information's coming up right now. Have a great time with whatever you do this weekend. Gina, mazel tov. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions podcast. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.